Good morning, friends. Good morning. I'm happy to see you here this Friday morning. My audio was just a little bit wonky. It is a little bit wonky. We'll just keep rolling with it though, because that's what we do when we record. Hello, Ali. How are you? Happy Friday, my dear friends. Welcome again to the Checkin In podcast. My name is Inium. I'm a life recalibrator, and I host this podcast with three key aims that I celebrate every single day. I actually bring focus to them because this is my way of how I tend to my self care in getting to be a wee bit better. All good, mate. I'm doing well as well. Thank you for asking. Good to see you guys coming in on the live streams. We got the YouTube, the Instagram, and the TikTok. And of course, this goes on the Spotify recording under the Checkin In podcast. Today is episode number 75. Episode 75, friends. I'm just reflecting as I watch these numbers continue to increase. I am just filled with gratitude that that's like a consistency here for a few months now, and I hope it keeps going because this is something worthwhile, I think, engaging in for me personally, and I hope it's also beneficial for you as you tune in. 75 episodes already, though. Goodness. My friends, let me just cover again the three key pillars of what we try to reflect on in every podcast and at least see some form of growth. Number one is awareness of ourselves and how we're growing and how we are changing through the course of life. Every single one of us, I believe, is on this same agenda that we are growing and changing through the various experiences. There's none of us, I think, who has ever experienced that level of accomplishment where we say, I'm done. I have everything sort of in such a place where I don't have to worry about learning or growing through the experiences in life. Secondly, I want to focus on the element of kindness. That's kindness primarily to ourselves as we're going through change. Kindness to ourselves because we rarely have that space where we give ourselves a break as we shift and change. And of course, finally, happiness in realm of experiencing more of it as we give time to process the other emotions. But I am thrilled to have you guys join in this 75th episode. Today's question we're answering is, what makes you laugh or smile? A very simple question today, and yet one that gives us some insights on where we are going in life, what we're doing. Jeffrey, good to see you here on the live stream. I see you there on Instagram. I don't actually take live interactive chats on the podcast here just because we're trying to get through some content. And I have a half an hour to do so, but I would love to get you on when I do live streams, perhaps. But I would love to hear your comments in relation to our question, what makes you laugh or smile? Feel free to leave those in the chat box, and I will read and reflect and engage with those as we go along. But today's question, my friends, is what makes you laugh or smile? And this is one of those questions that centers on our well-being. How are we doing in relation to our well-being? And this is one of the ones that I think is going to make us smile or chuckle in reflection because here is how, again, we are going through life, becoming aware of what makes us us. And so, yeah. So moving on to the consideration of the question, what makes you laugh or smile? Here's what I would say. I would say, um, it's a beautiful thing when we get to experience this in life. It's a beautiful thing when we get to experience these expressions that are joyful, that are happy, usually, that give us that sense of elevation in our feelings in a good way. It's a beautiful thing. I want us to reflect on the gift that that is. Could you imagine a life that is void of access to laughter, of smiles, of genuine good things going on? Love your content. You're amazing. Thank you, Anna. Oh no, that's so gracious of you. Thank you for being here as well. What would life be like if we did not have access to laughter, joy, happiness, contentment, like these beautiful gifts? And so the kind of question that today we're answering makes me reflect on is what a beautiful gift it is that we have to enjoy, and how often, if we're not watchful, we will We will miss those opportunities to be able to say, this is something worthwhile here in our reflection. So consider today, guys, as you are going through the course of your day. Today's Friday. So for many of us, I'm just going to do a bit of housekeeping here. One of my, let's see, how can I do this? There we are. We are going to do that. I just had to tend to one of the trolls coming in. It's been a while since I've seen trolls on the channel. So, nonetheless, we do a bit of that and we maintain our boundaries because we don't have to be part of negativity. But here I am smiling even as I am interacting with trolls. And here's the thing, I haven't had trolls for such a long time on my live stream. So it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. But nonetheless, even as I reflect on that, I'm smiling and laughing genuinely because I'm in a season where I'm unaffected by those kind of responses. It's just like water off a duck's back. And I can smile and laugh about that because there's been a lot of internal work done that enables me to treat it as light as I'm able to treat it, saying, no big deal. Moving on, here we go. And so, yes, consider today, Friday. We are at the end of a work week for most of us, and we're planning to maybe go and hang out at the bar today with friends or spend some time with family or whatever the fun plans are that most of us usually plan for a weekend. Think of how many times through the course of these things that we look forward to in life, we express happiness, we express joy, we express smiles and laughter, and yet we don't take the time to say, this moment was really meaningful and significant for me because I got to enjoy something wonderful. You know, when we're so used to these kind of things and they just kind of roll by and we don't take stock of it, we lose opportunities to express gratitude. We lose those moments to say, this is actually um, of importance as I reflect on it, because in the absence of it, what a life would that be for all of us? What a life of dreariness and enduring and tolerating and settling for, and all those other things that aren't as fun. So, when we get to experience these moments, dear friends, of laughter and happiness, things that make us smile, things that bring us mirth, what an opportunity it is for us to pause in those moments and say, let me reflect on this moment and how wonderful it is that I get to experience it. Because this isn't always guaranteed for us, is it? It's not always guaranteed. We can't pull it on demand. It has to happen naturally. It has to happen organically. It has to happen in a way that is outside of our control. And when it happens, it enables us to say, wow, that was really beautiful. Whether it's a kind word that someone says to us, or an encouragement that someone brings our way, or a discovery that we made, or a threshold that we've crossed over, an accomplishment we have worked and fulfilled, all these things that can make us smile or laugh, wonderful. If you get to sit down and watch, um, what do they call that? Comedy. Where the comedians stand up and they do the thing of the mic. That's called open mic or something like that. Anyway, when we get a chance to sit down and be entertained and laugh, what a beautiful thing to be able to say, I'm glad I have access to this, because in the absence of this life would really suck, right? And so this is something that I reflect on often, saying those moments when I get to laugh or smile, how can I sort of bottle them up so that that experience I can go back to by way of memory and say, I'm glad I got a chance to have access to this. This was good, you know? I remember when my mom passed away, one of the things that really helped me was all the previous years that I'd invested in spending time to enjoy those moments with her where we got to smile and laugh. So that now in her absence, there's a lot that I'm sustained by in my memory, in my heart, by what we enjoyed and how I was able to savor it then. Do you see what I'm saying? Is this the only platform you go live on? No, well, there's the TikTok, there's the Instagram, and the YouTube, and they're all linked on my TikTok there. You're just saying a lot of common sense knowledge that everyone already knows about. Perhaps so, but I think in the absence of talking about it, I'm not sure when's the last time you got to talk about these things or reflect on them. But for me, reflection is a powerful thing, dear viewer. It's a powerful thing when I get to state the obvious. In the absence of stating the obvious, we take things for granted, I argue. But when you get to go to someone and say, you may not know it, or you may know it, but I'm going to reaffirm for you how meaningful you are in my life, that is huge. They may know it, but it's nice to be refreshed. When we talk about things that we already know and we continue to elaborate and analyze and consider them, and when we bring that into conversation, when we don't just say, "Oh, I already know this," but when I get to talk about it, then it takes on new form of becoming fresh again and saying this is still worthwhile. There are some things that we continue saying by way of mantras. Consider, for example, when Barack Obama was first running for president of the United States. Most of us here can remember what his mantra was that was repeated over and over. Now we could say, hey, everyone already knows it, but guess what people did even though they knew it? They kept on saying it so that now it's become a phrase that people use. Yes, we can. It was really powerful. Think of other ones. Nike has their own, like for their branding, where they say, just do it. You already know that, but we bring that back into some significance by way of saying this is still meaningful for us to talk about because it is true, because it is powerful, because it's impacting. And in saying it again, we bring it back into fresh awareness that its power still has some grip on our lives. And so that's why I would say, yes, it's probably a lot of common sense that I'm saying. And yet the power in repeating these things that are obvious brings it back into collective reflection that enables us to be all on the same page. I could presume that everyone knows this, but I'm going to say everyone knows this, but not I don't want to presume that everyone has access to it. So in saying it, there may be others who are like, I never thought about it that way before. I never considered it in the way you're wording it or presenting it. And so that's why I love talking about things that may seem common sense, but they're still powerful. You're so awesome. Love your videos. I thank you for the encouragement. Friends, I always love that kind of feedback, even if it's one that you may say, I don't know if I agree with you on this one here, or this seems like a waste of time. I'm happy to consider that and say, you may have a point, but here's why I disagree. I disagree for the following reasons. And that's why I spend time that I'm not compensated for on this podcast to share with you my experience because it's my way of saying, here, if I have some good things that I'm already reflecting and experiencing, how can I not but share them with those who may find some worth in it? Not everyone will. And for those ones there, I want to encourage to go and find other corners and arenas where you may find your time well worth spent. But for me, here's where I camp out on with relish. You see, like, here's the thing, the live streams here, they're not hopping with thousands, even hundreds, let alone tens. And yet I keep on persisting in bringing the best that I have because at some point it may serve someone who comes across it. I may never be even discovered. That's okay. And yet, for my participation in this cosmic community that we're in, this community where all of us in our equality as fellow human beings are trying to figure a way forward, this for me is time well worth spent. You guys are worth my time. So I want you to hear that. I want you to hear that and reflect that I don't buy into that sense of importance that is given only because you have an audience or because people are flocking to you. I don't buy into that. I say if you've got good things to be able to share, share them. Share them with generosity, even if the world doesn't take any notes. I'm awesome. How are you, Matt? Good to see you coming on there. So, like I was saying, the question, what makes you laugh or smile? Take note of those things that make you laugh or smile, and then reflect by way of gratitude and saying, this is really good. This is really fabulous and wonderful and worthwhile. And so, um, yeah, that's for me really, really important. So I hope that is some encouragement because we all have access to those and we can all enrich our experience by saying, hey, this is good. This is marvelous. This is worthwhile. And let's give ourselves to it. Second thing I noticed as well, I'm glad you guys are enjoying the view, by the way. I'm getting some comments about that. This is the beautiful city of Calgary, this city downtown, skyscrapers. The skyline is fantastic, especially at nighttime. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. The second thing I wanted to reflect on, friends, is as I'm thinking of this one here, what makes you laugh or smile? The word makes there makes it seem like we're passively responding to. And I think that's something worthwhile to note in a not bad way. And why that is important for me is because the organic, genuine um, expression of happiness or smiling or laughing comes when we're responding to something. You know what it's like when you sort of force laugh, but it's not really genuine and you can hear that, versus the one that it's like really you can hear the depth of how where it gets to as the person evokes that expression of laughter and they're like, this is really hilarious. Or a smile. Imagine a fake smile. When you come across a fake smile, it's like, and you're like, I'd rather have the real thing, right? But the response is totally different when you see a genuine smile. When someone smiles at you genuine and you're like, that is a beautiful thing to be on the receiving end of, and it makes one feel really good. These smiles and expressions of laughter are usually in response to something that's coming your way. And that's the other thing I wanted to note in saying, how can you see those things in life? Sometimes we may need some help to see the things that could bring us smiles or laughter. For example, I was thinking about how when I am on road trips, I'm usually going from point A to point B. I rarely stop along the way because I'm just like, let's get there. Let's, maximize efficiency of time and what that looks like. But then traveling with those who are like, actually, no, let's slow down. Let's take a moment and take in this view here. Let's look at these flowers on the side of the road. Those are moments that I didn't have access to before, but someone helped me see them by way of saying, slow down, Binyam. Let's see these few moments along the way. And in doing so, I was able to capitalize on an opportunity to smile, to enjoy the moment with someone, right? I really hate when my close friends fake smiles. I really want them to talk to me if they're going through something. You know, Matt, I totally hear what you're saying there. And that is a desire for most of us in the intimacy that we have in our friendships and our relationships is we want to know someone's heart. We want to know how they're really doing, right? And that takes some time to earn that place, right? It takes some encouragement. For me, I actively encourage them saying, hey, whatever's on your radar, I think I have space for. Let me know if you want any assistance or support along the way. It's my way of just being presently and ongoing, saying, how can I make myself available to encourage you? Binyam, been a long time. Greetings from North Ireland. Good to see you. How are you? I'm glad you're here as well. Moving on. Let me answer this question now of what makes me laugh or smile. And by extension, like I was saying, when I note these moments, I'm also very grateful for them. Mine are a mixture of serious and silly. Let me start off with the silly things that make me smile or laugh. One thing you may not know about me, friends, is that I am a prankster. I love I love watching pranks that are good natured, not the mean pranks, the ones that are good natured, the ones where it's like, okay, that was funny. Whether I'm on the receiving end of it and they've pranked me, that's a lot of fun, or whether I'm the one who's doing the pranking. And I love looking for those opportunities. I love pranking those in my life that I know I've earned that kind of rapport to be able to do that. I prank them in small, kind of light jab ways, and then I also prank them in significant ones where I'm like, this is going to take some preparation, but I'm totally going to do this. So I really enjoy pranking others. You have the most contagious smile. Thank you. That's really gracious. I'm as I'm hearing that comment and that appreciation there. I really am grateful for your comments. It makes me thankful again because I've often been told that I have one of the most beautiful smiles that some people have seen, and I don't know what goes into that kind of assessment, but I'm glad that my smile can evoke and inspire others to the same. That really encourages me. So thank you for mentioning that. Yes, so I love to prank others in my life, and I love also being on the receiving end of pranks, especially when they get me good, especially when they get me good. So This is noteworthy for me because when most people get to know me, they are they usually see this side of me, which is like your bow tie, shirt. You look very formal. You speak very formal. You're very polite. You're very professional. All that stuff. And so they rarely see the prankster side, the jokester side of me. And yet I love to be able to extend myself that way. It's so much fun. So that's something that people don't necessarily know. And when I get to participate or be on the receiving end of pranks, it's a good time. It's a good time. I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna give you hat tips on that one. You totally, got me really good." And so I want to be able to enjoy that moment with them and say, "Good job." Or when I do it, I wanna do it in such a way where it is received in that spirit again of mirth, and it would not be a good prank for me if I pranked someone and it wasn't funny for them. I have to be really careful about that. I wanna make sure I have that kind of rapport with this individual whereby when I prank them, it's a symbiotic appreciation that we can laugh through together. And I like that aspect. That's really important for me. And so I really enjoy pranks. Something else that I really enjoy that makes me smile and laugh, which is the question we're answering. What makes you laugh or smile? You see how it's really helpful to be aware of who you are so you know what you need to be able to get to this end. Something else I really enjoy laughing and smiling at, actually, I do a lot more laughing, is dad jokes. I absolutely love dad jokes. I I kid you not, my friends. I have an actual app on my phone that's a dad joke app. And whenever I get some time, I'll just kind of scroll through them and it's a really good one. It has some fantastic suggestions. And as I read through them, I'm like, this is epic. I just came across one recently. Let me share this one here with you. And I'm sharing this again because this is what for me brings me happiness. And with my happiness, it's usually accompanied by a smile or a good natured laugh. Hello, how are you, Just? So let me share with you this dad joke. Um, a pun walks into a room and shoots 10 people dead. Pun in, 10 dead. Pun in, 10 dead. Pun intended. Oh my goodness, that one just got me. That's my new favorite one. I have a couple other ones. This one that I often it's this one's my go-to that I think is still hilarious for me. What do you call a monkey in a minefield? What do you call a monkey in a minefield? Ba-boom! Oh, that one's still so good. It's so clever. I love that one. You see, these are moments that I enjoy, and I'm like, I love that I can still like laugh at that joke. That for me still is meaningful. It's just I am doing great, Frosty. Good to see my friend. It's been a long time, hasn't it? But as I'm reflecting on these, one of my friends said to me fairly recently, they said, Binyam, I'm so glad that you forget easily because I can tell you the same jokes like week after week and you still laugh at them. I'm like, so true. They're not far from the truth that way. So these are like fantastic things that I savor as I get to enjoy them. Something else on the more serious side that I get to enjoy and that makes me smile and laugh are the friendships that I've gotten to cultivate and develop. For example, Frosty here is coming in. I'm like, Frosty, my dear friend Frosty. He was one of my regulars on my live streams, and he's a dear friend, and I love when I get to see him here. Shar, and all these names that I'm seeing that I'm recognizing, like Ollie, great to see you. Like I love seeing these familiar names coming up, and for me, when I see them, the natural response is a smile. And why is it a smile? Because there's something I'm establishing with you guys as we continue to interact and share life together. There's something that resonates deeply for me where it's like, oh, this is really meaningful. This is meaningful. The connection here. One of the biggest things that I have really been thrilled about since I came back on social media is this aspect where I wasn't sure I'd be able to have this kind of connection with people far removed from me all over the world, right? Through social media, I was like, that's not how I connect. I like connecting face to face with people, but I love how I've proved myself wrong. And my experience now has been fantastic as I'm connecting with all you guys coming on here. And it's like, hey, my dear friends. And my response when I see my friends, those who I'm investing myself in, those who are sharing themselves with me, and the friendship that is developing, it's a huge smile. I can't help but not smile, right? When I see my friends, the group of friends that I have here in the city that I meet on a regular basis, when we get together, you know how we greet each other? Huge smiles. We get up from the couch, we run over and give hugs, and it's just this fantastic expression of genuine camaraderie and care and love and concern, like so many beautiful things. And how can you not but smile in those settings? Even when life is tough, to be able to be in those spaces where you're accepted, where you're loved, where you're nurtured, where you are invested in, like so many beautiful things that are happening in community. For me, one of those things that makes me smile or laugh is beautiful friendships. And I say friendships specifically because for me, friendships also covers my family as well. I could say my family, but they're also under that umbrella of friends. With my siblings, for example, one of the things I told them, especially the younger ones, is listen, I'm so glad that we're connected by way of biology, like we're in the same family. And yet, for me, that is not as meaningful as the fact that they are dear friends to me. My sisters, for example, I get together with on a weekly basis for dinner. Um, there's a beautiful friendship there. I would see them first and foremost as friends before I see them as sisters. Does that make sense? So highly do I value my friendships and my connections with people that that is the umbrella, the general umbrella that I even put my family under and saying, yeah, they're in with me. They're close. They're fantastic. And so that's so important for me. And so when I see those in my life that way that I really honor and want to esteem, I say, well, hell yes, I'm going to smile when I think about them, when I see them, when I interact with them. I'm going to be genuine in that expression of happiness and mirth and all that is really important. So I was just looking at my mixer here because it was just doing this little thing. So as I reflect on these beautiful gifts, these are beautiful gifts in life that we get to experience. These beautiful gifts that we get to experience that are moments. I want to capture them as best as I can and put them into a bottle and say, yes, how can I savor this moment here while I have it? Because it's not guaranteed. One of the maxims I have from my experience in life, my dear friends, has its share of challenges. Fair share of challenges whereby a lot of it is a grind. A lot of it is where we're struggling our way through. We're trying to figure out how are we holding it together because this is so overwhelming sometimes. Overwhelming by way of pain or hurt or heartbreak or disillusion or cynicism or um, just a whole variety of things that are pushing against us and our happiness. And so when we get to experience those beautiful, happy moments where we get to see a smile that's genuine, where we get to have a good belly laugh and say, oh, this is so good to experience that. Capture those moments, dear friends. Capture those moments in your memory so you can reflect on them and appreciate them later. And in the midst of it, consider what it looks like to express gratitude and saying, this is good. This is lovely. This is worthwhile. This is something that is a nice break from the regular challenge that life generally is. What are those things that bring you moments of happiness where you can express it by way of smiles or laughter that reach deep down? This is part of how we get grow self-aware is knowing how to put ourselves in those kind of places that are going to serve us this way. In the absence of which, you'll just kind of be like moved around without any sense of autonomy to say, no, here's the pathway that I'm going to go down. It's worthwhile, my dear friends, to know ourselves as well as we can so that we can serve ourselves well and experience these beautiful things. And in experiencing them, also know how to savor them so they don't slip by you and you miss the opportunity to grow in your rich flavor of what life could be. My friends, I'm going to be announcing maybe later today and tomorrow a new course that I'm putting together. Super excited about how to have amazing conversations. Keep your eye on BidiumAstros.com. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Love you guys.